Previously on the 360 build. After daily driving my Ferrari 360 for 15 years, it was long overdue some TLC. Remember, this was a Ferrari that nobody wanted and I bought really cheap. More on that later, but subsequently it's been the best Ferrari I've ever owned and I've enjoyed it along with my friends to the max.
I mean, come on, man, like, it's so good!
But now I'm on a mission to prove you can own and enjoy a Ferrari, put many miles on it, and still transform it back to a show-stopping beauty. And there's much work ahead with exterior, interior, engine, and everything else all needing to be done. And on top of that, we've got modifications to make this car into my perfect challenge Stradale. Now in the last video, I left off with a bit of a dilemma, what colour to spray the 360. And I couldn't decide myself, but I narrowed it down to 3 different colours. Rosso Scuderia, so resale red, keep it original and keep it black, or go very funky and bold with a very custom purple that we had made up. But I left the decision to you guys, and you voted in your masses. In fact, over 2,500 of you gave me your opinion. So let's go and find out what you decided. And this is it, guys. We are back down at Live 9 Lives Customs to check out the progress on the CS. I am super excited. Let's head inside and find Jake, the man himself.
How you doing?
I'm all right, buddy. All right. How are we doing?
I'm all right.
Confidence high?
Bad. Always high.
Nice, mate.
Always
Nice. It's looking really cool in here. A lot of changes since I was here last time.
Yeah, you could say that. I've expanded a little bit.
Nice. I'm seeing we've got a little window here in your office and some tasty little cars out there. What have we got there?
That's a Mark 1 Capri. It's only got 3,500 miles on the clock from you.
Nice. So we'll check that out in a sec. Anyway, are we ready?
We are. Born ready.
And so while Jake suited up, I needed to crack on with a few last minute jobs. Just getting the final trim pieces off. We've got this, we've got the fuel cap, we've got the door handles, and then that's it. Totally ready. The other dilemma we had was to do with the engine lid. Now Jake had already made the necessary repairs to it, but we still had a damaged rear screen to deal with, and that's around £5,000 to replace, which is not in my budget, so I'm looking for a solution. But for now, we need to cut it off so we can get it ready for paint. And with that done, it's time to head into the booth and paint the car. Now I'm not going to lie to you, this was one of the trickiest decisions I have had to make, but you guys all really helped with your votes and it boiled down pretty much an even split between the Go Brave purple and keeping it original black. And so the final decision was actually down to my 2 daughters who have grown up with this Ferrari their whole lives. Now, you would think being girls, they would naturally go with purple, especially once they saw the sample. But no, they surprised even me and insisted I keep the car black, and who am I to argue? So the car stays original Nero Daytona black. So let's watch Jake work his magic. Now in the last video I mentioned I picked up my 360 that nobody wanted for an absolute steal. Now things have changed very slightly, but back then, remember, this was 15 years ago. Nobody wanted a Ferrari in different colours. They certainly didn't want a black one with boring grey leather interior. Everybody wanted a bright red, shiny Rosso Corsa Ferrari. So anything else was typically valued a lot less. And over the course of 6 weeks, maybe 2 months, I watched my 360, the asking price of it, tumble and tumble and tumble. It got to a point where it was ridiculous. I was thinking, there's got to be something wrong with this car. Back then, I couldn't run something like this, the car vertical. So it's very refreshing. We've just done this on my car. I'm actually the second owner of the car. I didn't realize that. I thought it had more. And also, you can see I bought the car. It's still in its teens in the mileage. And, well, I got the car for £40,000. It was, I think it just turned 6 years old when I got that. Now, if you look at a 6-year-old Ferrari nowadays, even with inflation, you're talking well over £100,000 still. So I still think that was an absolute bargain. But there was something on this report I bet nobody spotted. Now, in fact, I'm not even going to tell you. See if you can spot on my car, on that report, there is something that would probably flag up if you were buying the car and you were doing your due diligence on it. I can never say that. Anyway, let me know in the comments if you can spot it on my car. With the base coat of black now done, the next decision, as asked by Shakespeare himself, was to stripe or not to stripe. That is the question. And with this decision, it was down to me. And I personally love the CS with its tricolor stripe, especially on a black car. I think it pops and looks amazing. So stripe it is. All right, guys, this is the super critical bit. We are laying the stripe on the car, and this has to be pinpoint precision. If we get this wrong, we have to redo the whole thing. That means I need to get a new stripe, repaint it, re-lacquer it. So this is nerve-wracking. We're using a laser scope, as you can see here. We've got it here. It's all around the room, all of our beams. And we've used a reference point on the front of this bonnet, this hood, and that was the hole here for our front batch, which goes down there somewhere. So we've lined it up at the front, so that is definitely dead center. We've also then measured up using the top corners over here to our central point. We've made a mark on the screen there, and our laser has confirmed that that is correct. And the next bit, once we're happy with this, we've got to do the roof.
He who dares.
Meow.
Now, my next major concern was with the stripe itself. Firstly, it's stupidly been folded and creased during transit, and I was very worried about getting that crease out. But more alarming was the fact that this is literally the last stripe in stock at Ferrari in the world. So we have one shot. We cannot mess this up. And if we get it wrong, there is no backup plan. Now, not only that, it's a very complex stripe to fit, especially on the engine lid, which is why I'm leaving that part until last. So far, everything had gone perfectly on the front and roof of the CS, no bubbles, and more importantly, we managed to avoid those sticker creases. But we were still not fully in the clear, with the most complex part of all still to do. Now, as you know, I've had the 360 for 15 years now. Should I change it? When it's finished, we sell it, maybe get a 458, 488 maybe? What do you think, guys? Have a look at this one. Now, I got really lucky buying my Ferrari and it not having any problems. I certainly don't recommend that to anyone, whether it's a Ferrari or any car. You always want to run a history check. It could have been a completely different story. Check out this 488 GTB. This one is a 2016 car, and on the car vertical, you can see, well, it flags up straight away on our traffic light system. We've got damage on the car. And the great thing about car vertical is, well, you've got the history. Now, this car is back on the road. So when you're buying a car like this, you really want to see how bad the car was damaged and make a judgment call. So you can see it had front damage. You can see here it had airbags that had gone off. Now, does that look, is that right? Is that the engine out of the car? I don't know. It looks like, I don't know, is that the engine? Anyway, you can see all the damage there, which is really, for me, visualizing and seeing how bad it was is the main thing. 1,973 miles. So it's still a very, very expensive car. Now you can see here, it passed an MOT way after the car was reported with the damage. So it's been put back on the road. And the moral of the story is, well, don't be stupid like me and risk buying any kind of car, let alone a Ferrari, without running a car vertical. And if you use my discount code RAT, you're going to save a nice little bit of money on your report. Now, I want to say a massive thanks to Car Vertical for sponsoring today's video. Honestly, guys, without sponsors like Car Vertical, none of this would be possible. They allow me or enable me to buy things like this for future projects. For example, that seat is thousands of pounds. And without it, I wouldn't be able to build this and make this content for you guys. So thank you very much to Car Vertical. In town, guys, all you got to do is you buy a new car, or you got a car that you really want to find out some interesting details on, make sure you use code RAT. And in turn, well, it will help me build videos for you guys. Now at this point, I'm sure some of you might be wondering about this Stradale stripe we're fitting, being that it's a sticker. Surely Ferrari painted that on, right? Well, no, they didn't. This is the way that Ferrari put the stripe on the Challenge Stradale from factory. They applied this very same vinyl sticker and then many, many layers of clear coat over the top to bury the edges, making it appear like a painted stripe. They actually changed this process from the 430 Scuderia and subsequent special edition Ferraris, which were then painted. But on the Challenge Stradale, as you can see documented by Ferrari themselves in their workshop manual, here it's just a cheap sticker. Although it's not cheap, far from it. Back in the day, it was an optional extra coded PNT3 for the CS, which you could spec for the costly sum of £3,100. A rip-off, right? Well, not if you compare that to the modern day equivalent. On the SF90, the racing livery, as it's referred to, is now £9,800, making the CS somewhat of a bargain. Stripe all successfully fitted. Next, we had to just let it settle for a while and expel all the moisture. Jake was very busy attempting to beat me at Ridge Racer, and while he wastes a fair few hours trying to do that, I'll update you with what's happening on some of the other parts of the build. Now, as well as all of the bodywork on the Stradale, Jake has also had to rework all of the bumpers and everything else that bolts onto it. Now, you remember in the previous video, this was my front bumper. It needed a little bit of work. That's all been sorted out. But the major thing was the pop-up washers. Now, as you can see, we've lost those completely on this one. So we've got smooth lines on it. This, I do have another plan on this one though. You'll have to wait and see with that. But for now, this is what is going on the car. And then we also had the rear bumper here. Now that was pretty much perfect. There was not really a lot wrong with that one. Genuine rear bumper again. The only issue with that was it was in red, so we've had to do a color change on it, but that had to happen anyway. So those two are now ready to be sprayed and go on the car. Now those might be ready, but I am having a bit of a problem with the side skirts. They're a little bit too far gone for me, and I think we are going to replace them. Let me show you what I'm talking about. As you can see, they're pretty scuffed and smashed up, and I want this car to be perfect. So I'm looking into potentially getting a new set of these, but it just depends on how long that's going to take. And we've got a bit of a deadline with the CS that you're going to find out about a little later on. And with that, we were ready for the final stage of paint. Several layers of clear coat. We should have just flattened everything back down to like aluminium and just clear coated it.
What, we should have just done it.
Yeah.
Just a completely different colour.
Yeah. This was the moment we had all waited for. The layers of clear coat were about to make that lovely, beautiful coat of black paint literally pop. And for the first time in many years, I was once again about to have a very shiny Ferrari Challenge Stradale. Now this was going to take several coats in order to bury the stripe completely and leave no edge. We're using the very best in products available, and once dried there is going to be so much clear coat on this car I doubt we're going to need any kind of PPF protection on the car, but let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. PPF or no PPF? And if anyone has any recommendations or wants to get involved, then please do message me directly. First coats of clear coat are then applied, leaving the correct interval of time in between applying each. And after a few litres are sprayed on the car, the last thing to do is just leave it to bake off and dry. Now, because the car is going to be looking mint and we've done all of that amazing work on the recesses, couldn't get away with this, we've had to spend some big money and get something very, very special. Let me get these out. Direct from Ferrari, we have original windshields. I cannot wait to put these on the car. This is the bit for 15 years that has bugged me, that we haven't had the recesses and a correct set of wing badges. So those both will be going on the car. Now it gives me a little idea, because the old ones that came off the car, well, let's do something nice with them. Now, as a thank you for anyone who uses my code when they get a car vertical report, I've come up with a little idea. Now, in the last video you saw we went to great lengths to do the indentations on the wing. We had that amazing tool, and well, this is the old wing, we don't need this anymore. But because we've now got the correct indentations, that means these ones that came off the car are now surplus to requirements. I've got one somewhere, I think I've got another one. So what we're going to do, anyone who uses my code over the next month, I'll speak to Car Vertical, we'll pick out 2 names randomly, if I can find the other one of these, and then you guys, I'll get in contact with you, and we'll send you the windshields that were on my car for 14.5 years. We'll sign it, send some stickers as well. Cheers. Holy shit! That. Now, if you remember in the last video, we had a little bit of a setback, a bit of a nightmare when we broke the window. They had used so much sealant when they fitted the windows, it was impossible to get them out. Well, luckily, I've managed to get a replacement. This is new old stock, never fitted before, and well, it cost me £100, whereas if I bought this from Ferrari, it is more like £800. So, bit of a result there. Now, along with the side skirts, we've still got a lot of other stuff to do. We've got the rear grille to do, and also all of the carbon fibre on the car. So we've got the rear engine slats here, plus all the carbon mirrors and a whole lot more. Honestly. Oh my God, guys, it looks absolutely amazing. I am blown away at what an amazing job Jake has done on the car. We've got a load more bits to do. Going to let him finish off in there. Then we've got to put it all back together. But not only that, we've still got to do all the interior on the Stradale, which is all happening It's all being done in the background. We're going to bring that in a future video. But we've got a major deadline on this car because we are going to be at Petrol Hedonism Underground, end of March. We'll put the dates down there. And also I'll put a link in the description where you can get tickets for that. The car is going to be, the CS is going to be on Jake's stand at the show. And we've also got something very, very special coming to the show as well. More on that in a future video. But I've got to say a massive thanks to Jake. Make sure you follow him, Live 9 Lives Customs. I'm going to put a link down there. And well, I'll catch you in the next video when the baby is going to be all back together, hopefully fired up and potentially back on the road. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. In the meantime, check out what I get up to on a daily basis over on my socials. Stay safe and ciao for now.